Hi guys, I'm back with another video. So keeping with the theme of basic information on Wicca and paganism, this video is just about the ethics of magic, I guess, magical ethics and whatnot. Where do I want to start? There's a common saying among contemporary pagan communities that say something like black magic is whatever works and white magic is everything else. I think this stems in part from a misconception that black equals bad and white equals good, and there's no gray areas at all. But this, I believe that whole school of thought could be further from the truth. So if we look at the word black itself and try to figure out why it's always associated with evil, a big part of that I think is thanks to pulp culture. In popular shows like Charmed or Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the good guys are always shrouded in white light. The bad guys are always surrounded by darkness. After another part of this whole black equals bad concept is because people who can't let go of their Christian upbringing, in which those who are righteous are surrounded by the white light of God, and those who are damned will dwell in darkness. The problem that I see with this logic is that darkness in and of itself it doesn't have to be bad at all. It's not. I don't consider it to be a bad thing. There's a lot of good things associated with darkness. For instance, a beautiful quiet night out in the country, away from all the city lights and the noise of the city, being in the countryside and the quiet and the darkness. That's a very positive thing for me. Darkness is the long winter nights when we are drawn into our homes to embrace our family and count our good fortune. It's the inside of the womb, warm and nurturing. Even the darkness of, I think, graveyards, and death itself can kind of seem welcoming. I think once we accept that darkness isn't all bad, then it's a lot easier to look at the concept of black magic versus white magic. Even if we replace the words black with negative and white with positive, we're still going to kind of be in a predicament, because I believe it is the intent that matters as much as the actions. So in other words, if someone performs magic that others might see as negative, does it but that person is doing that magic for what they believe to be an honest and just reason, then is it really negative magic? If someone else sees it as negative, but the intent of the practitioner is positive, is it really negative? Um, I truly think to do magic is to say that you're wanting to bring about change in your universe. You know, I think if everything were perfect already, then there would probably be no need for magic at all. And apparently that's not the case, because magic is around. Any magic capable of causing change, that magic can also cause harm. Um, Magic is, it's magic isn't some super spooky power that we all possess. It's a tool we can use to help facilitate change. Um, any tool can be helpful, but it can also be harmful. I could have a hammer and use that hammer to build houses, but then also turn around and start whacking people over the head with that same hammer. The hammer itself isn't negative. It's how I chose to use that hammer that became negative. I hope that makes sense. Um, there was a case back in the 90s. It was a serial rapist who was terrorizing women of a city, I think, in the Carolinas. And over 2 years, his reported victims, I think, got up to like maybe 24. A group of witches got together one night and did a working calling for this man to be stopped by the universe. A couple of weeks later, the prime suspect, who was later convicted, led the police on a high-speed chase and wrecked his car, nearly dying from his injuries. He has lived ever since then, severely handicapped, but has never raped another woman again. So, is that negative or is that positive? Kind of have to weigh the odds. There are people within the Wiccan and pagan community who feel that any magic that affects other people at all is unethical, and they have the right to not perform any magic on, against, or for others. But at the same time, there are an equal amount of people who believe that change brought about by magic is acceptable, just as change brought about by everyday mundane methods is acceptable. I think, just like anything about Wicca and paganism, I just think the chances are that these two camps will probably never agree. But it's the job of the practitioner to pretty much respect the beliefs of those who may disagree with them. Whatever side you fall on. It's just look at magic as a way to improve your life. You can use it to bring love to you, to gain financial abundance, and eliminate problems in your life. You can use it as a method of growth and self-empowerment. It can be used to help you fulfill your dreams and desires. Can you use magic to help other people? Sure. But only if they ask you to. I'm a firm believer in that fact, that you don't push your belief systems and your practices onto people who have not asked for your help. If they haven't asked, or if they've specifically told you not to do anything on their behalf, then it's just respectfully, you just don't do that. I just think ultimately only the practitioner can decide which form of magic fall into their personal belief system of ethics. If if you feel a particular course of action is wrong, then common sense will tell you to just avoid it and not do it. If you feel it is ethically acceptable and you're willing to accept the results of your actions, then, and if you feel right about it, then do it. It's all about the choices that you feel are right, best for your ethics and your daily life. If you're willing to accept the consequences and accept the results of your actions, then by all means, there's nothing wrong with it. If you feel that it's a good move and you feel it's positive, there's nothing wrong with that. So that's my little interpretation of magical ethics. I live by, I have good intentions. I don't care about if someone says, well, even though they asked you to help them, you still shouldn't do it. I have good intentions and that person has asked me for their help. I will help them. So that's my little spiel. Hopefully it made sense. I will be back with more videos when I have more topics to talk about. But otherwise, have a good evening. Brightest blessings. Good night.